What if failure wasn't something you should be afraid of? What if failure is actually something you should be seeking? What if all of your biggest opportunities are always going to come on the heels of your biggest failures? It's been my experience. And it's been my experience that every entrepreneur I've ever studied, every business leader, every thinker, every inventor has said something very similar, that success happens after failure. And that means that we need to seek failure out. I want to talk to you about the mindsets and the frameworks that are going to help you overcome your fear of failure, and not just overcome it, but conquer it. Get excited about it. Here's something that I promise has happened to you if you've been in the game long enough. You go to a conference, you go to an event, you hang out with people, you go to some networking mixer, and you run into somebody who's way more successful than you. They're not as smart, they're not as diligent, they're not as disciplined, they don't have as good an idea as you do, they don't have the whatever, you call it. Tell me what your resume is, the background, the education, the pedigree, all of those things. But for some reason, they have more money, they have more clients, they have more visibility, they have more followers. Whatever the hierarchical structure you've positioned as valuable is, they're beating you. And I bet you that's not just happened once. As a matter of fact, I bet you it happens over and over and over and over and over again. You show up, you see people that are beating you that don't deserve to be beating you by any level of analysis, any metric of prowess you win on, and yet they have more points. They've scored more. They put more points on the board. How is that possible? It's infuriating. It was the first 15 years of my entrepreneurial journey, was just watching people that I really knew I could beat destroy me. Just obliterate me, leave me in their dust. And it wasn't until I learned this one mindset, this one framework, that everything changed. The reason that they were successful was they weren't afraid of failure. And I was horrified of it. They weren't afraid to try. They weren't afraid to ship. They weren't afraid to publish. They weren't afraid to shoot the video. They weren't afraid to write the book. They weren't afraid to make the offer, make the sale, take the client, hire the employee. They weren't afraid, because when they failed, they just tried again. And actually, if you really start to think about it, consider the people that are the most successful people in your life. They don't tend to be the smartest, the strongest, the fastest, the best educated, the best funded. They're the people that try most often. It's just reps. It's getting reps in. Here's what's really interesting is I can look to you like a success as I sit here today. I've built a multi-million-dollar agency that I sold for an 8-figure exit and have produced a $10,000,000 net worth. Fancy me. What I don't tell you is it took literally dozens of entrepreneurial failures for me to have one success. I've had so many failed businesses. I've tried medical and legal transcription, software engineering. I've tried some type of form of investment banking. I ran a company that did purified mercury. I've tried import, export, wholesale, retail, furniture. I've tried everything under the sun, and it's all failed. As a matter of fact, adjusted for margin of error, and I mean this is statistical truism, I've done nothing but fail. My success, you could very easily explain away as right place, right time, which by the way, it was. It was. I had 50 some odd unsolicited offers for my agency. I sold my agency for what I sold it for because all of a sudden, Google Ads agencies just became the belle of the ball because of this weird little ecosystem that we were in. So did I luck out? Yeah, absolutely. Did I pay the price that it takes in order to be in the position of luck? Yes. Because I kept trying and I kept failing and I kept trying and I kept failing. I call myself the world's greatest failure with pride. And I actually get the kick out of it. Like now, I've learned to not just embrace failure, not just get over failure, but there's something about it that I relish. There's something about the ridicule that I relish. There's something about when people bring up my failures that it gives me a weird sadistic form of pleasure because I know what they don't. I know that that failure brought me closer to success, and they're still waiting. They're still afraid. They're still, you know, it's the person who's desperate to go up and sing karaoke and just can't bring themselves to do it. I hate to dance. I'm terrified of it. I'm horrified of it. So what do? I try to throw myself on the dance floor when I feel safe enough to not pass out. You need to do that in your business life. We have to take failure and we have to alchemize it. It has to be the thing that we seek out. Because if all you're doing is seeking success, you're going to play it safe as a prerequisite, because success is fleeting, temporary, and to be frank, again, almost statistically, impossible. And we know it's almost impossible because every major success you know, every successful person you know has failed 9 times at least for every success they've ever had. And those are the most successful people you know. So if all you're doing is waiting to be successful, it's like, I'm not shooting the ball unless I'm going to make it. I'm not going to swing the bat unless I'm going to hit. I'm not going to go for the girl unless I know she's going to say yes. Failure is the fuel that feeds success. And if you can put yourself in a position where you really begin to internalize that your failures are the building blocks to your success. They don't get in the way. They don't set you back. They don't hurt you. And this, by the way, is almost always true. Now, I'm not telling you to go take a great big SBA loan or do a friends and family raise or charge up your credit card. That's different. That's a complete and total lack of wisdom. Take the risks that you know you can take. Take the risks you know you should be taking right now today. The only thing stopping you is your fear of failure, your fear of optics, your fear of ridicule, what will people think, what will people say. Do those now. And what's cool about it is this is a habit you can cultivate, and you can start small. You can start really small. You can start just with people. When you go to a coffee shop, ask for somebody's name. Start asking people questions that you might be afraid to ask otherwise. Make a cold call. Cold calls are terrifying if you haven't done them. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care if you don't have anything to sell. Pick up the phone right now today and just cold call a business. And just see what it feels like to fail at that. Because your first call is going to fail. Your first 99 calls are going to fail, by the way. And that's every cold caller knows that. It takes 100 calls. Every cold caller knows it takes 100 calls. So get really good at going out on a limb and putting yourself in a position where failure doesn't mean negativity. Failure means a building block. I'm building. I'm failing and I'm learning. I'm failing and I'm learning. I'm failing and I'm learning. Because the truth is you cannot fail and not learn. It's an epigenetic phenomenon. It's built into our DNA. We're mechanisms of survival. It's how we evolve. Every failure leads to learning. You almost couldn't help that if you wanted to. Every failure you experience, you instantly think like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. This is what I'll do next time. This is what I'll do better. So the framework, the mindset shift is look at failure as building blocks of success, as fuel towards your success. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt sometimes. It doesn't mean that I don't get embarrassed. It doesn't mean that like things don't sting. I still, one negative YouTube comment can prey on my mind for the whole day, but I still shoot videos. I still try. And then I look at those failures and I see how they cascade into success. Seek failure out. Start small. Habituate failure. Let's say you actually really start to succeed. Don't stop until you fail. It's the failure you want to seek. It's not the success, because the more failure you seek, the more success will naturally accumulate and happen to you. When you see people that are more successful than you, realize that the world does not reward perfection, it rewards persistence. The world does not reward perfection, it rewards persistence. It's you trying, and it's you doing it over and over and over and over again. Be persistent, stay at it, and then alchemize failure. I hope this video is helpful to and for you. I'm producing a whole host of videos on mindset shifts and frameworks that I hope lead you to some level of entrepreneurial freedom. Check out my YouTube video for other videos, shorts, and if you don't mind, share. If this is helpful to you at all, share it with other people and share it with context. Let them know why it was helpful. Hey, I watched this video and I really liked A, B, and C. I disliked X, Y, and Z. Let's get the conversation going. I'll see you in the next video.